right, looks like we are recording. My name is Robin Covington. I am the director of the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice. Um, the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice is a small nonprofit. It is a statewide coalition, which is comprised of many different community partners, such as law enforcement, the Attorney General's office, Rhode Island Legal Services, folks in mental health, sexual assault, and domestic violence, just to name a few. And what we do is we work together to address and prevent elder abuse. So without further ado, I want to introduce Lori Light from the State Ombudsman's Office. And the Long-Term Care Ombudsman's Office is a valued partner and coalition member of Rice Edge. So we're affectionately known as Rice Edge or Rice J. So without further ado, take it away, Lori. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, Robin. It's great to be here today with you. As Robin said, my name is Lori Light, and I am the State Ombudsman for Rhode Island. If you are not familiar with the Ombudsman Program is a federally mandated state program. We support individuals who reside in long-term care facilities, nursing homes, assisted living, individuals receiving home care and/or hospice. We are a resident-driven program. What do? We're advocates. We're here to advocate for individuals in long-term care who may be having issues, who may be having concerns about the quality of care they're receiving. We work with individuals and or their legal representatives to ensure that their quality of life is the best that it can be so that their rights are not being violated. And, we do our best to ensure that all residents are treated with dignity and respect.
Thank you so much. When you hear the Rhode Island State Long-Term Care Ombudsman, that's a mouthful, and it sounds like you mean business. It's really official. So I think it's important to know that people in facilities, whether it's assisted living or nursing homes, have rights, and they have advocates that go in there and make sure that they are the voice for these people, for people who are in these facilities. So, Lori, tell me a little bit about hospitals. Do you guys advocate for anything to do with hospitals?
Yeah, so our work with hospitals is mainly if an individual is in the hospital and then they need to transfer over to long-term care, whether that be for just say physical therapy, occupational therapy, or for long-term care. That's when we would receive a referral that the individual is going into long-term care, and we would follow up with that individual as appropriate.
Gotcha. So you're specifically in facilities such as nursing homes and assisted livings, not
Correct.
folks in the community or in the hospital setting per se.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about how you support families. Say that there's a family member that needs help with mom getting her into a facility. Are there any supports that you all provide ahead of time so that people are feeling like they're making the right choices?
So families absolutely can reach out to us if they have concerns or questions on how to get that process started, right? And depending on what the situation is, we can help support them and lead them in the right direction, right? Our role, though, more is to work with individuals or families once they're actually in long-term care. So if a resident or their family has concerns about, say, quality of life issues, missing hearing aids, glasses, dentures, maybe a family has concerns that their person's having way too many falls, or they have concerns about their medication. Those are the types of things that families and or residents reach out to us for. We're here to answer questions about residents' rights. We're here for involuntary discharges. We work closely with resident councils and family councils in facilities. So yeah, that's our role, is really to advocate and support people who are actually in the long-term care system.
Thank you so much. Tell me what that means in voluntary discharges. Give me some examples of how you guys can be supportive in that regard.
So there are a couple reasons that a facility can issue a discharge notice, which is what we refer to as a 30-day notice. And that would be that the facility can no longer meet the individual's needs, that the individual no longer requires the level of care that the facility provides, that the individual is a harm or danger to themselves or others, um, for non-payment, and or if the facility is closing down. So typically what happens is the facility will issue a discharge notice to a resident, and we are also notified of that intent to discharge, at which time we will get involved, should the resident want us to be involved, and assist them in filing the paperwork for an appeal, and also representing them at the appeal hearing should they wish.
Excellent. That's important to know. Thank you. So say a person goes to the hospital and the facility refuses to take them back because they say that the client is not an appropriate fit for the facility. How does that work? What would be the next steps in that regard? Would it be the hospital that has to find them a different facility? Like, how does that work?
So it's really hard to have one blanket answer for that type of situation, because so much depends on why does the facility feel that they can no longer, take care of this resident? Why are they no longer a good fit? So it would really depend on what was going on, but we would absolutely work with that individual, and also maybe refer them to Rhode Island Legal Services if that were appropriate, depending on the situation. But I would say that should you or your person receive a discharge notice, you should call us right away out of the gate, and we can help walk you through that and support you through that whole process.
Good to know, because that's not always the case, right? There's so many different scenarios. In other scenarios, you could still be in this facility, but you're given that notice because the facility might feel that you're not appropriate there.
Right.
Is it then, do you work together with the facility to find another assisted living or nursing home that might be a more appropriate fit, so that this person isn't, like, for instance, just discharged back to the hospital or discharged, God forbid, to the streets?
So if the individual were in the hospital and not allowed to go back to the facility that they came from, we would get involved to see what was going on, and is there any way that they can go back to, because it's important to remember that's their home, right? It's not just about discharging somebody, it's about displacing somebody from their home. So depending on what's going on there, we would figure out what's going on there. But typically it would be the hospital, when they're saying that it's time for this person to go, they no longer need the care that they're receiving in the hospital, then they would put the feelers out to see if they could find appropriate placement for them.
Got it. Now, what if the family member isn't pleased with the services, with the care that the facility is getting, right? They feel as though, mom's had a lot of falls lately. The facility is always short staffed. Would it be appropriate to reach out to you to discuss their concerns
Absolutely.
about the situation? Okay.
Absolutely.
And what if they wanted to move the person to another facility to try it somewhere else? How would somebody go about that? Transferring to a different place?
Right. So we would kind of help walk them through that and tell them what they needed to do. And it's not a hard process, really. You would contact the social worker at the facility that they're currently in and ask them to send the paperwork that would be required to another facility if you knew where you wanted them to go, or a couple other different facilities. And then it's up to the other facilities to determine whether they can appropriately care for that individual. But we would work with them and support them through that. We don't have the paperwork to do the referrals ourselves. the nursing home would have all the paperwork on the individual. So they would be the ones who would
Yeah.
need to see it to send it to the new facilities. Yeah.
Got it. Making sure that process happens.
Yes.
And sometimes it's as simple as after a nursing home stay, they went to a facility, but the only place that could accept them was, I don't know, say all in, Pascog. And they live, say they live in East Providence and they want to be able to visit mom all the time, but they can't get there. Something
Right.
as simple as that is that, hey, I want my mom closer so I can be more involved in her care and see her more. Right. So there's
Absolutely.
many gamuts to how you guys can assist
Right.
people and their loved ones.
Right.
So, speaking about people and their loved ones, tell me a little bit more about resident and family councils.
So resident family councils are a really great tool, not only for the individuals who live in the facilities, but also their families. We encourage people to participate, to form a council if there is not one, meaning a family council. We know it's been proven time and time again that for resident councils, when residents feel that they have a voice and they have support, that their quality of life is better. If and it is a mandate that all nursing homes have resident councils. Okay, no, they don't necessarily have to have a family council, but should they, it's a great tool because it's not put in place a family council to air personal grievances, right? But it's to come together, talk about what may be going on, and come up with ideas and solutions about working together and how can we ensure that everybody has the best quality of life possible. So we always suggest that families and or residents get involved in the councils and their facilities so that they have a voice. They can address issues and come together to feel supported. Yeah.
Thank you. I know that sometimes families or the older adult receiving the care might feel bad or don't want to make a complaint because they don't want the facility to take it out on their loved one, right? Tell me a little bit more about your role and how the family member can go through you to advocate for them in terms of that.
Sure. So people fear retaliation because retaliation's real, right? And um, um, as many facilities that give great care, there are definitely situations where the best care isn't being given, and people are vulnerable. Oftentimes they are at the mercy of the people who are their caretaker, so they don't want to rock the boat. Or you can picture your grandmother saying, "Oh, I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to cause a problem," right? And retaliation should never happen, but it does. And it can also be subtle, right? It can be not answering the call light in a timely manner, moving it out of reach. There can be all kinds of things. So again, depending on the situation and what's going on, the family or the resident can call us. We will not move forward and do anything without permission of the resident or their legal representative. And depending on what was going on and what they want to see happen, we definitely take the direction from them. We're not going to just go in and say, "Hey, Mary said that, this is going on." We're not going to do that unless Mary says it's okay. And Mary wants our support to help walk them through that. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. So without putting you on the spot, can you give us maybe one or two examples of how the Alliance was alerted and then you were able to make some meaningful change? Do you have any stories to share?
Oh, well, I'll tell you about Louise. She's one of my favorites. So, Louise, and I'm not probably going to get her age right, but she's a, late 70s, early 80s. And she was a retired principal who was now residing in long-term care. Her daughter is her power of attorney. And it's important to note that Louise is alert and oriented. Okay, Louise knows what she wants. She knows what she doesn't want. She does not want male CNAs to assist her with her ADLs. She does not want to go down and play bingo when they have activities going on. Louise always wanted to be a country western singer, right? And she enjoys sitting in her room doing her word searches and watching western movies. So the facility, though, was referring to her daughter, her power of attorney, for all questions regarding her care. And she called our office one day and was pretty much like, I don't know who you are. I don't know if you can help me, but I've had it. This is what's going on. So we got involved with her permission, obviously. And we reminded the facility that albeit her daughter is her power of attorney, Louise is alert and oriented, can make her own decisions. We had a gentle conversation with her daughter explaining that, right? Because it's hard when people go from having a full life in the community, they've had a career, they've raised a family, all the things, right? And now they're living in a long-term care facility. That's a big, big transition, right? And it can be very traumatic. And people don't want to lose complete control over their lives. So we were able to remind them that they should be referring to Louise for what she wanted. So now she doesn't have any males assisting her when she, with her ADLs, and she goes to the activities that she chooses to go to. And most of the time she likes to sit in her room and watch her, her old Westerns. So that may not seem like anything harsh, but it was a really big deal for her because it was about the quality of her life and still having some control and say in her life. People have the right to say when they want to shower, when they want to eat their lunch, their dinner, what they want to eat, those types of things. Really important. Really
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. So I heard that a recent law passed where residents can put cameras in their rooms so their loved ones can like monitor the care they're receiving. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is all about?
Right. So the camera law did pass in Rhode Island, and which gives residents and or their legal representatives the option of having a camera in the room to monitor care, like you said. There are protocols and procedures that need to be followed with that. Should a family decide that they would like a camera in the room, they should speak with the administrator at the facility or the social services director, and there would be paperwork that they would have to fill out. You have to if you have a roommate, the roommate also has to consent to having a camera in the room. But I would say start there at the facility, and if you have any issues or problems, you can call us and we'll walk you through that also. We'll help you with all the ins and outs of actually getting a camera placed.
Awesome. That's important. Um, do does your office do like random checks? Do they go out to facilities randomly to check on things or hear from residents? What do you
So,
guys do for like quality control?
right. So in Rhode Island, there are 76, currently there are 76 skilled nursing facilities and 66 assisted living facilities. We are in every single facility in the state at least once a quarter, some much more often. But yes, we go in, we do what we call a routine visit. We talk to residents, we talk to family members that are there. We ensure that the facility has our contact information. We give that out to residents. Should the resident council invite us to attend one of their meetings, we'll attend, we'll tell them what the Ombudsman Program is, give out information on the program. So yes, we're in the facilities every single day. Every single day.
That's good to hear. As somebody who has a couple loved ones in different facilities, it's good to know that they're protected and that you guys advocate, for their rights. That's so important. So, Lori, tell me, how do we get in touch with you? How does one make a complaint or call for more information? How does that work?
So we have a website. You can go to our website. You can call our office, 401-785-3340. 90% of the time, somebody will answer the phone. Here, you won't go to voicemail unless it's after 5 o'clock or on the weekend. So the easiest way I would say to get a hold of us is just give the office a call. And if you aren't able to speak with an ombudsman immediately, somebody will get back to you within 24 hours, always.
Excellent. Good to know. And how quickly do you guys act on a complaint or a call?
I would say on the average it's within 24 hours, depending on what the
Wow.
situation. We may go out that same day to see the individual. I mean, sometimes it can be handled over the phone. Sometimes people will call us and say, hey, this is going on. I don't really want to do anything else at this point, but I just kind of want to know what my options are, right? That happens. But if we receive a complaint or a resident calls because they have something going on, we 9 times out of 10 are out there within 24 hours.
Wow, what a great response. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So that's so important to know. So this has been great. This helps me understand the role of the long-term care ombudsman a little bit more. What did I forget to ask you? Is there anything else that we should know?
Great question. I'm sitting here trying to go over everything that we went over. I would just say that if you have an individual or you are in long-term care yourself and you have any type of question whatsoever, any type of concern, call us. If we aren't the appropriate people, we can get you to the appropriate people to help you out with whatever's going on. But as far as long-term care goes, we're here to support, to advocate. I would say just give us a call. No
Mhm.
matter if you think it's really something tiny, not important, doesn't matter. Just give us a
Mhm.
call. That's what we're here to do.
Thank you. How is your role different than the Rhode Island Department of Health?
So the Department of Health has regulatory oversight of facilities. The Department of Health will go in to see if they're following federal regulations, state regulations, policies. Whereas with the long-term care ombudsman program, um, that is not our role for regulatory oversight at all. Our role is simply to advocate for the resident, what their wishes are, what their needs and desires are. Ombudsmen are not mandated reporters, unlike everybody else in the state. And the reason for that is so that we can establish a rapport with a resident, and we act on their behalf at the direction of the resident.
Got
So,
you.
yeah,
Resident led.
yes.
Very important. Well, I really appreciate you giving us some time. Thank you for meeting with the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice on our webinar, our expert-led webinar series called The Road to Elder Justice. If somebody you know, or if you or someone you know needs some advocacy support, has questions regarding somebody residing in a facility, whether it be an assisted living or a nursing home, please pick up the phone and contact the Rhode Island Long-Term Care Ombudsman's office at 401-785-3340. You can also visit their website. They're also very active on Facebook. So if you're on social media, make sure you like and share their information so you can get the word out to other people that might need it. Now, if somebody in the community, living in the community, such as their own home or subsidized housing, for instance, anyone living independently, and you have some concerns about abuse, neglect, please contact the Rhode Island Office of Healthy Aging at 401-462-0555. Again, my name is Robin Covington. I'm the Coalition Director for the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice, a statewide network of advocates, community members, different providers, and professionals that work together to address and prevent elder abuse. Thank you so much. Together, we can make a difference.